Sometimes the most precious gifts aren't wrapped in ribbons. They're wrapped in wisdom, love, and the echoes of a lifetime. This is the story of a grandfather, his grandson, and a lesson that would change everything. The summer of 1998 was special for young Ethan. At 12 years old, he spent every school break at his grandfather's countryside home, a place where time seemed to move slower, where the air smelled of fresh earth, and where stories were whispered by the wind. His grandfather, Thomas, was a man of quiet strength. He had silver hair, deep wrinkles that told 1,000 stories, and a voice that could turn the simplest moments into unforgettable lessons. One morning, as the sun painted the sky in shades of gold, Thomas called Ethan to the old wooden bench under the oak tree. "Ethan, my boy," he said, his voice warm yet firm, "I have something to give you." Ethan's eyes lit up. Was it a new toy? A book filled with adventures? A treasure from his grandfather's mysterious past? But instead of reaching into his pocket, Thomas pointed toward the shed. "There's an old wooden box inside. Bring it here." Curious, Ethan ran to the shed, brushing past cobwebs and dusty shelves until he found a small, weathered chest. It was locked. He brought it back and placed it on his grandfather's lap. Thomas ran his fingers over the box, lost in thought. Then, he took a deep breath and looked into Ethan's eager eyes. "This," he said, "was given to me by my father when I was your age. And one day, you will pass it down too." Ethan's excitement grew. "What's inside, Grandpa?" Thomas smiled but didn't open it. "Before I show you, I need you to promise me something." "Anything," Ethan said. "I need you to listen carefully, to not just hear my words, but to truly understand them." Ethan nodded, sensing the seriousness in his grandfather's voice. Thomas leaned back, looking at the sky as if searching for the right words. "Many years ago, when I was a boy like you, I was impatient. I wanted everything quickly: success, money, happiness. I thought that if I worked hard enough, I could control everything around me." Ethan listened intently. "But life doesn't work that way," Thomas continued. "One summer, my father took me on a long journey. We walked through fields, climbed hills, and by nightfall we were lost. I panicked, thinking we'd never find our way home." Ethan's eyes widened. "What happened next?" My father smiled and said, "Son, the stars have always been here. They guide those who take the time to look up." Ethan frowned. "But Grandpa, what does that mean?" Thomas chuckled. "It means patience, my boy. We often rush through life, searching for answers, when all we need to do is stop and look around. The answers are always there. We just need to see them." Thomas placed a hand on the box. "And now, it's time." Ethan held his breath as his grandfather unlocked the chest. Inside was a simple old pocket watch. Confused, Ethan picked it up. "A watch?" Thomas nodded. "It doesn't work anymore, but it still holds a lesson." Ethan examined the watch, its golden surface worn, but still beautiful. "What's the lesson, Grandpa?" Thomas smiled. "Time, my boy. Time is the most precious gift we have. We chase money, fame, and things that don't last. But time is something we can never get back." Ethan fell silent, running his fingers over the cold metal. Thomas continued, "One day, I won't be here. But this watch will remind you of what truly matters. It's not about how much you own, but how well you spend your time, with family, with love, with purpose." A lump formed in Ethan's throat. "But I don't want you to go anywhere, Grandpa." Thomas pulled him into a warm embrace. "That's the thing about time. It keeps moving. But as long as you remember the lessons, I'll always be with you." Years passed, and Ethan grew into a man. His grandfather passed away peacefully, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and love. On the day of Ethan's college graduation, he found himself sitting under that same oak tree, holding the old pocket watch. Tears welled in his eyes, but he smiled. He finally understood. Life wasn't about rushing to the destination. It was about treasuring every moment along the way. Time is the most valuable thing we have. Spend it wisely, with love, with purpose, and with the people who matter most. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone you love. And remember, Don't just count the minutes. Make the minutes count.